anyways, so yeah, let's start. So whenever I open up my Rhino, what I first do, and recommend for you guys, because you guys are doing a 10 by 10 scale project, is go to the top left over here, and then click it, go down to Properties, under Notes, on top of Print, and for you guys to figure out your units first. So in this case, you can see that's in meters, and for this project specifically, and for most of your projects, I recommend you to do millimeters, because a lot of the machines that are used in architecture tend to be scaled off millimeters for some reason. So yeah, just do millimeters, and you can click OK, and then actually go back to Properties one more time. And what I recommend is for you to also figure out your grid. As you can see in Rhino, on the flat surface, there are all these little grids you can see. And basically, the highlighted grids are the major lines, and the less dim grids are the minor lines. Oh, wrong one. Sorry about that. And this is more of a personal thing, but what I do is I tend to try and match my grid count, which is the the total number of grids that are in your project, to the minimum if possible, because it looks a lot cleaner and easier on the eyes. So normally I do, in this case, I'll do 20. Minor grid line spacing, I'll do, let's say, 10 millimeters per minor grid line, since it's a 10 centimeter project. And then for major lines, I'll do 10 as well. So if I were to click OK, you can see it's gone a lot smaller and a lot more compact now. So one big square is a 10 by 10, basically. So later on, I'll make a model out of it. So beginning with the simple commands and simple tools that you can use, most of the time, oh, that's different. Interesting. Sorry. There we go. If you click Standard over here, there will be all these tools that are most commonly used, and normally these things will be the only things you will need for the couple first weeks of architecture for now. So let's just, oh yeah, actually, before that, I'll teach you how to do the camera controls. So when controlling your camera, most of the times you'll hold right-click to sort of move your camera in a spherical manner, as you can see, at the center, like this. And if you hold, there's a lot of hotkeys for this, but for now I'll be teaching you 3 main ones. If you hold Shift, you will move your camera in a more, I guess, vertical and horizontal axis. And if you hold Control, you can zoom in and zoom out. And if you hold Alt and right-click, you will zoom in and zoom out slower for some reason. But yeah, for now, that's all you need. And then now I'll be going through the commands that are on the left tab here. So first, let's just start with polyline. Very simple. If you double-click I guess these sort of tabs you can see on the corners of your screens, if you double-click them, you can zoom into them. You can also change to whatever view you want. If you click it, down below, top, bottom, left, right, blah, blah, blah. You get used to these as you're doing it, but for now, that's what you need to know. Let's just start with the simple commands, polyline. Basically, it'll just create I guess, lines, polylines that you can try out yourself as well later on. And then next one is control point curve. Basically the polyline, but curvy. Ooh, organic structures, look at that. Very cool. And the next one is the circle center radius. For these sort of commands, normally, if you're a bit confused on how to set them up, you will see on the command tab on the top left here, it says to select the center of the circle. So in this case, I'm gonna put it over here, and then I'll make it about this big. Perfect. And then ellipse, as you can see over here, basically similar to the circle, but just a little different. Select the left center, as you can see on top left, and then the first axis, and then second axis. Sorry, I'll just put this around. And the next command next tool, I guess you can say, is the arc tool. This is very similar to the circle. You select the center of the arc, and then the start of the arc, and then you can just, boop, done. And the rectangle tool, these are all very self-explanatory. If you go on Rhino, try them out 2 or 3 times, it'll click for you, and you'll get used to it. But right? For the rectangle, you can choose one corner to the other corner, or you can click one corner, and then you can choose the length. Let's do about 50 for now. Oh, actually, let's do about 100 for now, for length, as you can see on the top left. And then I'll type in 40 for width. So just make sure to remember that when typing in length and width commands, the length will always be in the red axis, the red line, and then the green line will always be the width. Now I'll just teach you guys polygon, very self-explanatory as well. It will create a polygon, and you can choose a number of sides by clicking on this tab over here. Number of sides. Let's say I want to do a hexagon. Type in 6. Boom, hexagon. Wow, beautiful. And let's see, next. It's a lot to talk about. Before I move on to more, I'm going to start talking about these bottom tab tools that you will need to know or will be really helpful when you're doing most Rhino projects. So first of all, I'll look at grid snap. Grid snap, let me just change something real quick. Grid snap is basically the amount of space your mouse will move in this axis, as you can see. So I made my snap size to 10. So every time I move my mouse, it'll automatically lock onto, one of the grids. So if I have to select the middle of the square, it'll automatically go into a random corner. And then next one is ortho and planar. These you don't need to know yet, but definitely the bigger your projects get, you'll need to know them. But for now, I'll just skip them. Next is OSNAP. Very cool name. Basically, these tools down here are all for your own accuracy and when doing a project. So OSNAP, what OSNAP does is you can see all these little tick boxes over here, end near point, blah, blah, is, how do I explain this? It will automatically, so let's say I were to do just only tick end for now. It will automatically lock on to one of the ends. As you can see, like it locks onto here, and you can see that it says end. Lock onto here, for example, and lock onto the end of the polyline here. And yeah, it'll do that sort of thing. Basically, whenever you're doing projects, to make it as accurate as possible without any gaps in between. There are also, for now, you only need to know is end. Just turn on end, mid, and int. Center is sometimes useful. It'll help you select the center of a circle or even a hexagon in this case, as you can see. If you just hover around the edges of the circle, it'll automatically select the center of the circle for you, and you can draw whatever you want, like this. Very nice. Same goes for any other closed curved shape. It'll select the center for you automatically. For now, I'm going to turn center off and only turn on end, mid, and int, because those are the really only ones you need to know. Oh yeah, intersection is also, if there's two intersecting curves or an object, it'll automatically select the int in between. Nice. And then now, gumball. This is very interesting. Gumball is basically just this. You see these colorful arrows and circles you guys see here? That's what it is. This is your bread and butter tool to move around objects and to move around whatever you need, basically. Whenever you click an object, this will pop up right in the center of your object. And basically, the arrows move up and down. Arrows move up and down, left, right, blah, blah, on an axis. And then these, I guess you could say arcs you can see here, are your ability to rotate an object. Whenever you hold shift, when you rotate, it'll automatically do a 90-degree turn. And yeah, that's about it for gumball. I'll get into these smaller little dots you can see on the lines later on in a bit. But for now, that's all you need to know. Let's turn this back in. There we go. Next, give me a second. I wrote a list. So many. Next. So now I'll get into the measurement commands. So there are mainly three. One is distance. You type in distance and press enter. You can click from one point and choose from one point to another, and it'll tell you the exact distance, as you can see on the top left, 137 millimeters, from one point to another. The other one is length. It will tell you the total length of a curve that you select. For example, if I want to know the full length total length of this curvy curve, you can see it turns into 327 millimeters. And last one is, oops, sorry, I'm confused. Last one is angle. So if you want to know the angle between two, in this case, two curves, you can draw the first line like this, and then go back to the start of the first line, and then go draw the second line, and it'll come with your angle right here, 50 degrees. Just a note, you can also do accurate measurements of like your polyline by, let's say I want to click on, what's wrong with this? I'll change back, yep. Go back to here, and then if I type 100, it'll automatically do a 100 millimeter line like this. And this is a little weird, this one, but if you want to do at an angle curve, let's say I want to do 30, you can do this, that thing, the crocodile thing, I don't know what's called, I forgot. And if I type in 30, for example, and then it will turn around at 30 degrees like this, as you can see. Very cool. That's that. Next one is, oh yeah, I'll just continue down the tab here. The next one is fillet curve. Filleting basically just means smoothing out a corner, and I'll demonstrate it with this corner here, as you can see. When you fillet it, select the first line, basically. When they say curve, they mean a line. So select the first line, and then select the second line, and then it'll create like a curved corner like this. This definitely is a command that I use quite a bit sometimes. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And then going down more, surface. So surface, similar to polyline, I mean not similar, but like, just click. You can either make a triangle or a rectangle or trapezoid or trapezoid or something like that. So if you do 3 clicks anywhere you want, and then enter, it'll create a triangle for you, like this, as you can see. And then let's say I want to do a rectangle, a trapezium, then I will do 1, 2, 3, and 4, like this. Next is fillet surface. I'll get to that in a bit, but let's just go to box for now. Box, pretty self-explanatory. You just create a 3D box. First, you can choose one corner to the other corner, and you can go up in height wherever you want. Just like rectangle, the rectangle command, you can choose the length, the width, and anything you want really, like this. 20 by 20, and 100 in height. And then fillet surface. You can, when you want to basically smooth out a surface smooth out an edge between two surfaces. So in this case, you have this edge, and I want this edge over here to be smoothed out. I will click fillet surface. Select your first surface, doesn't matter which one's first. And then, I'm just gonna make this a little bigger. Select the first surface, and then the second surface, and it'll create a curved surface like this. Again, you can try to use that yourselves, and 2-3 times, you get used to it right away. That's about it for the left side commands. And now I'll be moving on to more of the, I guess you can say, utility commands. So there are a lot of utility commands, like, first of all, let me just start with, general commands. First of all, let me just start with move. So basically, you select an object you want to move. Let's say I want to just move this cube for now. Then you can select anywhere on this object. I'm just going to choose the center, the middle of this edge here. And then I can move this around to really any point, anywhere you want, like that. That's what it is. And then next is sort of, I guess, more of the fun commands, you could say, is offset. It'll simply offset your curve or an object. So if I think I can offset this as well. Oh, never mind. Only curves for now. It's like offsetting the curve. So as you can see, I offset this ellipse, and now we've got one bigger. Yeah. Next is joining. Joining is very self-explanatory as well. Basically, when you have two disconnected curves, in this case, this one and this one, all I have to do is select both of them, like this. Oh wait, I didn't tell you how to select, my bad. When you want to select something, there are two different sort of selecting methods. So one is dragging left to right or right to left. Left to right will only select, so left to right will only select the objects that are fully covered by the box. For example, if I were to choose, I want to choose this, right? Then I will do left to right, and it'll only select that object, that curve. But if I were to do right to left, it will select any object that's inside, even if it's partially outside it and cut out, like this. Yeah. If you don't get it, you can try it out yourself as well, and it's pretty self-explanatory most of the times. And carrying on to the general commands. Yep. So let's say I want to just select these two. I'll go right to left, select them, or just click, hold Shift to add another object, and then you can type in join. As you can see, now it's fully joined, and to split it back, you can actually use the split command. In this case, you have to have an intersecting curve in between the area where you want to cut. So for example, for now, I want to cut this center area of this curve right here. What I'll do is I'll type split, select the object I want to split. Since I want to split this one, click that, and then select, enter, and then I will select the cutting object, which is this curve in this case. And now you will have these two curves that have been split. Next is, I don't need to do those. Next is scale commands. There are three different types of scale commands. Today I'll be teaching you three. There are multiple types of scale commands, but today I'll just be teaching you three for now. One is just normal scale. If you click a base point, as you can see on the top left, it will, base point, and then the scale factor. Just click wherever you want. I don't get this much as well. But it'll basically scale upwards or downwards, whichever direction you go on this reference point of the scale. The other one is scale one directional. It will scale a object or a curve in only one direction rather than, oops, sorry, I'll just do another one. In one direction rather than both directions. So in this case, if I want to just make this cube, this rectangle a little less smaller in length, I'll click the base point of this rectangle and then the end point, and then now I can scale up and down to whichever length I want to do it with. And then lastly, this scale 2D. This is mostly only useful for 3D objects. How to do it, scale 2D. It takes you to select the object to scale, click that and press enter. And then select your base point and reference point. It's a little weird, but basically now it'll only scale in these two directions. As you can see, the height isn't being scaled upwards, it's only the width and the length. And just some another commands that you might need to use. You might not know why you need to use it now, but this is a command that you might need to be helpful later on. It's called dupe edge with, D-U-P-E-D-G-E. Basically, it will duplicate an edge on most of the times 3D objects. So in this case, if I were to duplicate an edge on, let's say I want to do these three, right? I'm holding Shift and left clicking to select all of them. Then it will duplicate these edges, and now I have them out like this. And after that, you can really do whatever you want. Next is just a very general utility command. Sometimes when you zoom out like this, you're like, oh my God, I want to go back to the center. Then what you can do is just select an object that you want to go back to the center to, and type in ZSA. Forgot what it means, but what it does is it'll move your camera all the way back to the center of the object, like this. So if you ever get lost, just, like this, like, oh my God, what do I do? Just select that, type ZSA, and you're back. Most of the times it'll work. Then now I'm going to call these the fun commands, because you can go a little wild with them. So let me start with extrude curve. So it's very self-explanatory. You type extrude curve, and you will be able to extrude a curve to really however you want in one direction on the perpendicular axis. So let's say I wanted to extrude this curvy line here, then it will just automatically extrude a curve like this. You can also type in, with every sort of distance-related command, you'll type in the length, I mean not the length, the distance, and it'll automatically do it for you like this. Oh, look at that. The next is loft. Loft is basically the connection between, it'll make a surface between it'll make a surface between two edges, two curves. So in this case, let's say I want to have a surface that goes along from here to this rectangle down here. So if I were to just type loft in, and then you can just ignore this part for now. Just type enter twice when you type loft, and it'll automatically come up with a surface like this. So let me try with something else as well. Let me do it with what's bigger. Oh yeah, and in the Gumball, there is another scaling tool which you can use, which is this little square here. If you hold Shift, it'll scale in both directions. So for now, let me just do this. And then if I were to do loft all of these together, it'll create an object like this. You can choose what sort of loft you want to do by selecting normal, loose, tight, straight, which is like geometric like this. So really, it's up to you, and you can go really crazy with it. If I just do another example, let's do this, and then I do loft, and then let's do loose. Oh no, it's normal. It'll just like a sort of model like this. Next is cap. Cap is basically this is another tool that you might need to know once in a while, because you'll have these open surfaces sometimes when you're doing these commands. And what you can do to close them off is to select the poly surface that you want to close off and make into a solid, and type cap. Now it's fully closed off, and you can't see under, or basically just make it into solid. And then next is cage edit. So cage edit, for you of those who love to do organic things, especially in the beginning when you're using Rhino. Cage edit, it will tell you to select an object, and just for now, there are all these different sort of types of cage edits you can do, but just for now, just press enter 3 times after you press an object. And what the hell? Oh man, click bounding box, and then press enter 3 times. And it'll sort of create this cage, and basically, I'll show you an example. If I sort of select these points here with my left to right selection tool, I can drag these out, and then create these sort of morphed shapes. You can really go wild with it. You can just, let's say I want to do this point, and that point, and then I can do, let's say rotate it around. I can rotate it around, and I'll create these sort of organic, most of the times organic shapes, whenever you want to do these more creative, like these, Definitely, you should try these out yourself as well, because it's kind of hard to explain. It really just comes with more experience. Next is pipe. Basically, what pipe is if you select the curve and you type in pipe, actually I'll just type pipe for now. Pipe, it'll say select the rail, and rail is basically an edge or a curve. So let's say I'm just going to do this poly surface edge for now, and it'll tell you to radius. For now, I'm just going to do 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters. It'll create a pipe alongside the curve or edge that you have chosen. So for example, if I were to do a pipe along this, it's like that. And then let's say I want the start radius to be 15, and then the end radius to be, let's say, 4. Then it'll create this sort of lizard-looking tail, in this case, I guess. So yeah, very fun tool as well. And then the next one is, if you don't want to create a pipe along a curve and you want to do like your own sort of shape, then you can use a command called sweep1. Basically what I'll demonstrate on this arc is, again, let me just create a random, there we go, that's pretty good enough. And then let me just try to make it perpendicular, I guess. I'm not sure what the word is, perpendicular to your rail, basically. So if I did sweep one, it says select the rail. I'll select the curve that I want it to flow along on, and then I click the shape, which is, in this case, this little blob here. If I press enter, it'll create this sort of, it looks like whatever shape you put on, it'll flow along the curve and create this sort of shape. And you can also type in cap, and yeah, now I've got this interesting sort of shape. What else? Next is shell. Shell, in most cases, I use it to, if I were to talk in architectural terms, I use it to make walls. So if you type in shell, it'll say to, let's put this up a bit, it'll say to select a polysurface. A polysurface is just basically any surface that you see in a 3D object, or a 2D object. And let's say I want to do a thickness of 5. So I'm just going to demonstrate to you, because I'll have to explain this. And if I do this, it'll create a hole with a thickness of 5 alongside the inside the object. So if I were to just do shell on this surface only, it would only create a shell. Basically, it creates a shell with your designated radius or distance in this case. So it's really useful for making, if you have like a floor plan in Rhino, for example, and you just want to extrude it up and then make it into a 3D object, you can type in shell and the walls will be created for you, basically. And then the next one is the more, as I said before, the utility commands. There are quite a bit, but first of all, let me just start with the simple ones, which is just group. So group, very simple as well. You can see that these two are not, in the same group in this case. So if I were to type group, it says select objects to group. And if I want to group let's say these 4 for now, like this, press enter, and these will be grouped together and move together and really just do anything together, interact together, like this. Yeah. And then if you want to ungroup them, simply type ungroup. Very simple. And then there's also, let's say you have, all this grouped up together. Then there's a command called remove from group. So what you can do is select an object. Let's say I don't want the 3D ones to be in my group. Then I can just this one as well in my group. Just enter, and now only the surfaces and the curves will be grouped together. So quite useful if you don't want to have everything clustered together in a group. Next one is lock and unlock. This is not going to be too useful to you yet, but it is a command that you should try to have in mind sometimes. Basically what I'll do, if I'm, let's say, there's not much situations, but let's say I don't want to select these by accident, because I want them to stay stationary there. Let's ungroup these real quick. These objects to stay stationary there, and I'll type in lock. And now, no matter what I try to do, it is not selectable. These are just the curves. It is not selectable, as you can see. And even it'll just go through like that. And then to unlock it, simply just type unlock. So if you just want to have an object that you don't want to accidentally edit out, they just lock them in place, and that's about it. Next is hide and show. Hiding, pretty self-explanatory as well. You select anything, whether it be a curve or a 3D object, and you just hide them, and they'll be gone. And then to just show them again, you can just type in show, and they'll be back. Same with curves, hide, show. And then what you can do, actually, is if you want to work on a specific part of your project, what you can do is hide these, and then type in a command called show selected. As you can see, it'll only show what you hid beforehand. And you can just edit these out, do whatever you want normally, and then, just put these back for now. That's about it for them. So now that I've taught you most of the general commands, I'm just going to teach you how to do, in this case, I'm going to do a 10 by 10 foundation and just a couple of forms on top of it. Oh yeah, wait, I forgot to show you Boolean. Oh yeah, Boolean, I mean. So Boolean is this command right here. There are 3 types of Booleans. there's Boolean difference, split, and union that you need to know for now. What it does, we just create a couple of shapes here. What it does is basically Boolean it'll subtract, split, or add two or more 3D objects together. So let's say I want to make this into one object. Then what I would do is click both of them and then type in Boolean union. And now you can see that it's turned into one object. Most of the times, 99% of the times it'll work. And then Boolean difference is the absolute opposite of Boolean union. And as you can see, it says to select the polysurface or surface to subtract from. And let's say I want to subtract from this. I want to create like a little gap in this. Then I'll click that, and then select surfaces to subtract with. I'll click that, and now you have this, gap here. That's about it for Boolean. You can also do it on surfaces. So if I was to want to make like a window, for example, then what I would do is in this case, I will Boolean difference. I'll just do this for now. Boolean difference, and then I'll select this to subtract from, and then this to subtract with. And now, that's weird. Give me a sec, sorry. Subtract with. Okay, so ignore that for now, but as you can see, it created a hole like this. Why did I do that? Weird. Voodoo crab in Rhino, as always. Oh, that's why, I think so. Okay, that doesn't work, whatever. But most of the times it'll create a hole like this, and I don't know why I did that for this time. You can create doorways, subtract whatever you don't want, etc. Now I'll get to the foundation part. So since, as I explained before, this one grid here is 10 by 10, so for now I'm just going to create a cube. Let's just say 10 by 10, I'll just type in 100 by 100 in terms of millimeters. And then a height of, let's say 5. Oh, that's 15, close enough, whatever. And move this down here. And then what I'll do next is just create a couple forms just to show you guys, like that this is possible, that's possible. For now, I'm just going to create like a normal box with a normal two-sided roof, I guess. So I'm just going to draw it real quick, so make a cube. And then what you could do is double-click here, and then go to one of the views. Doesn't really matter which one. And then I will draw in with my polyline tool a triangle, like this. And if you look like this again, you go back to your perspective. Oh, that's weird. Actually, this is a great example. So when these situations pop up quite a bit, where your point doesn't go exactly where you want it to, so what you could do is use a command called setPt, set point. So basically, it'll set the points to the axis that you want it to be set on. So in this case, as you can see on the bottom left, I want it to be facing on the x-axis. So if I just select the x-axis, it will simply be fixed like that. On the x-axis, as you can see. Now what you can do with the command that I told you before, extrude curve, and then put it here. And then you can cap it. And now I'll have this very simple, very nice, architecture building, house. Very nice. Next, I'll just be doing like a random loft shape. I'm going to draw in 2 curves for now. Let's draw this one in. Copy and paste it. You can also do Control-C, Control-V, similar to Adobe, shortcuts, And then I will just create a simple loft from here to here. Make sure to keep your model simple for this Rhino project because you'll be having to print these out, I think. Right, Luke? I don't know where he was. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll have to print these out. So make sure to keep them simple. And then let's say I just wanted to have like a little swimming pool in this little foundation here. Then what I would do is create a box, let's say about 10 millimeters high. No, 5 millimeters high. And then I will just move it in like that. Oh. And actually, I'll just use scale 1D here to put it down all the way inside to this box, like this. And what I'll do is Boolean difference. Oh, I'll just do this actually. Boolean difference, subtract from, subtract with. And now you'll have this swimming pool. And then from here, I'm going to be teaching you how to basically export, basically making it into like an origami shape that you can fold it into. And for now, let me just Boolean union these two objects. And then if you type in the command called unrollSurf, which is unroll surface, it will basically unroll. Make sure you have explode off in this case. I'll explain why just in a bit. Explode off in this case, explode no. And what it'll do is it'll create a origami shape like this that you can, print out or do whatever you want. I'll do the same for this one as well. Unroll surface, no explode, and there it is, like that. So basically, that's what unroll surface without exploding does. But with exploding, it will explode your 3D object into different pieces. As you can see here, it exploded the tower into 5 different pieces. This is pretty useful for laser cutting. I'm not sure if you'll learn it soon enough, I think. This is pretty useful for laser cutting when you want to do like, walls and whatever else you may need to do. Same goes for, I'm just gonna test it on this as well, just to show you guys. Yeah, you can see it's all split up, exploded, ready for you to do whatever you want with it. And with this, actually just to have a bit of accuracy, I recommend you to do a rectangle and then type in either an A3 paper size or an A4. I'm going to do an A4 this time. So I'm going to type in 297 millimeters times 210 millimeters. And then I'll move these into the A4 like this. Rotate it in, make sure it fits. Rotate it a bit this way, like this. And because you'll be having to print these out, make sure you make sufficient space for them so that you can do it all in one go rather than having to waste paper. There we go, perfect. So now what you'll do is you'll go to top view. And what you'll do is select, you can select the curve if you want, but in this case, I will not. Actually, no, I'll just do it. And then make 2D. And basically, it will take your camera view and make it into a 2D. Even though it's already 2D, it also works for 3D objects. I'll just show it for you with this one. Let's say I want to make this into just lines only instead of having to be a whole object. What I'll do is make 2D. And then you can choose wherever you want your projection to be. But in this case, I'll just use my view because, just quick explanation, a quick example. Perspective view, and these are all different settings that you can also test out later on. And then I'll name my layer, I shall turn this off for now. I'll name my layer YRH1. And then what it does is it'll create a 2D line drawing of your view, basically. So it's very useful for if you want to do, cool little silhouettes of a building that you may want to do. So that's what Cubot does. But in this case, we're going to be using it to get rid of these lines when you print stuff out. So make 2D, perspective view. Make sure you turn off hidden lines in this case, and turn on tangent edges, and turn on group output. And then if I have to do, let's do H2 this time, then it'll come up with your, your origami, I guess, to put in your Illustrator later on. Now, what I'll do is I'll select all of these, exports, and then go to File, and then there should be a button called Export Selected. Type that in. I'm going to put it in my downloads for now. I shall put it on my desktop for now. I'll say it's laser cutting. No. Origami. Origami. And then make sure you save it as a Adobe Illustrator. And when you're exporting, it'll come with this tab. And make sure to preserve your model scale by 1:1. So in this case, since it's 1 millimeter, I will do 1 milli by 1 millimeter. The rest of the settings don't really matter in this case, so I'm just gonna skip them and click OK. And now if I go to Adobe, I'm just going to create a new file. Whatever. Is there a print? Here it is, A4, make it there, test 1. Create. And then if I were to open a file with the Adobe that I just saved, the Illustrator file I just saved from Rhino, origami.ai. Wait, whoopsies. Where is, there we go. I forgot to tell you this as well. Make sure to put your stuff at the 0, 0 intersection. So in this case, I'm going to move this, type in move, click a corner or the center of this, wherever you, really wherever you want, and type 0, 0. It'll go back to your origin point for Rhino. As you can see, since I put it far from the origin point, it's sort of dragged to the right here. So try to put it in the 0, 0 intersection when you're printing it out. I don't know why it's like that. Why is it? Oh wait, oh yeah. And then obviously just copy this, put it into your A4 Illustrator file, and it should fit those 3 times. If it doesn't, double check everything that I said. You can delete this over here. And now you can just print it out. Yeah, and then you'll be able to make your own origami shape with the forms that you make in Rhino. Again, try to make it simple if you're going to print it out, because if you make it too difficult, it'll take too long, and it won't come out that well. This is just practice, so yeah, have fun with it. Now, I'm just going to teach you a couple tools that are generally pretty good when doing like architectural section shots, elevation shots, stuff like that. I'm just going to if I want to create a section out of this, then what I would do is use a command called clipping plane. What it does, first corner of a rectangle, basically just do what you want with it, doesn't really matter for now. It'll basically it'll cut your object down or which way you ever want. If I were to do like this, it'll cut, and you'll only be able to see through it like this. So in this case, if I want to make like a section cut, I can do this. And then over here, I will be able to see, if you were to model it, see the inside of whatever you have built. You can also flip the direction. If you go to properties over here, there's a properties, layers. The rest of it don't really matter for now. There's property and layers. You can go flip direction, and it'll do the other direction. Very easy. Another command, let me just check. Another command is named view. This is for when you want to just do a quick, let's say, perspective shot or interior shot of some sort. If you type name view, it'll come up with this tab. And you can just, what I do is just drag this onto the right, so it connects so it doesn't, isn't too messy. And what I'll do is, let's say I want to do a really nice shot of the swimming pool here. Then I would, and let's say I really want to keep this shot. I don't want to keep going back to this. Then what I would do is you can do save as swimming pool, so that whenever I move around, I'm like, oh, I want to go back to the swimming pool shot. You just double click this, and I'll go back to there. This goes the same for the clipping plane. I don't know why I deleted that. Where is it? So it's like this, and I keep moving around, and I keep moving around a lot. And what you would do is go to here, and then select left, I think in this case. Since it's in the left side. Oh, what side is that? I'm so confused. Oh yeah, it is left side, yep. And then what I'll do is go back to click the clipping plane, toggle on the left side. Oh, that's the wrong left side. Anyways, oh, is it front or back? I'm so confused. Sorry guys, this is just Rhino things, I guess. I'm gonna move this away actually. Anyways, what the? Okay, give me 10 seconds, guys. Sorry. Where did everything go? I'm so confused. All right, flip direction. Front. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna move this all the way over here. And then if I have to do a front direction, there we go. And then if I have to do like a front section like this, which is not working again. Front. Should be working. Oh wait, I'm so stupid. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Back. My bad, guys. Back. And you're able to see through it. And if you want to save this shot as a section shot, then you save as section 1, and boom. You can keep going back to wherever this used to be a swimming pool. Now I moved it. But you can just go back to whatever shot you really want to look at again. And I think, yeah, that's about it for the simple Rhino commands. So again, everything is recorded, and there is a document that you can look at just to look at the quick recap of the commands I showed today. And if you ever have any questions, you can always search it up on YouTube, or there's an official site for Rhino, and normally it'll explain perfectly there. But if you're still confused, I'm sure you've seen the DRH building downstairs on the second floor. And normally, if you go in and you ask a question, they'll answer as best as you can. Yeah. Sorry it was so long. Sorry it was so long. I tend to talk a lot. Yeah. Yay! Oh yeah, wait. One last thing. Most important command. All your Adobe users out there will know what this is. Control S. Okay? Control S. Man, do this every 5 minutes. Because there are so many times where I worked for 3 hours straight and everything got deleted because it crashed once. So make sure you type Control S and save it in the file that you wanted to. Yep. That's about it. Thanks, guys.